Hello and welcome to Sunday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where I think I'm in for a bit of a challenge this afternoon, which given the time I'm starting this video is slightly worrying. I'm meant to be having a go at this puzzle, which is called Mind the Gap. It's by Michael Lefkowitz, sometimes known obviously in the Sudoku community as Juggler, one of the most popular constructors in the world. And I don't know why we never did this puzzle when it first came out, which was back in 2024, but I found it on Logic Masters Germany. You can see it came out almost 2 years ago, 6th of July 2024, and I don't know if that will show up on the screen, but the rating for this puzzle, well, it's a 97% approval rating, but 5 stars out of 5 for difficulty, so it's definitely not straightforward. But some of the comments are just eulogistic. Everybody basically saying look at that. Afraid Not says it's an absolutely incredible puzzle. The current 95% rating is criminally low. I love that. That's fantastic. Marty Sears, whose birthday it is today. Happy birthday, Marty. Also saying it's a fantastic puzzle, and lots of other people saying it's fantastic too. So this is what I'm going to attempt with trepidation. I did read the rules before I turned on the webcam, and they sound mad. So let's hope we'll be able to mind the gap. We'll read the rules together in a moment or two's time. But before we kick off, there are many things that I'm supposed to mention today. I'll start off by saying that at 10 p.m. tonight, that is Sunday night, very rare for us, we are streaming because we're taking part in this cerebral showcase, which is something Steam puts on every year. And you can see we've got the very last slot there in the bottom right-hand corner, Sunday the 31st at 10 p.m. We'd love to have your company. We're back, of course, in the Blueprints Mansion for something like the 47th time. Let's keep fingers crossed. Oh, yes. Now, in fact, I believe, made a breakthrough on my own in Blueprints. Well, sort of on my own. I forced myself earlier on today to look at the screenshots to try and actually do some preparation, and I have noticed something from last week. Anyway, I will reveal more during the stream. I won't spoil it now, but I was quite excited about that. Anyway, sorry. So that's one thing going on, Blueprints. Next thing going on is we have a brand new app out featuring the puzzles of the great Zeta Math. So it's one of these worms, which is a collection of puzzles all linked together. If you've been following the channel for any amount of time, you'll know that Zeta Math's puzzles are an absolute treat. And these worm apps are a great way of showcasing a particular constructor. So check that out. It's available on all the usual platforms right now. And then tomorrow is the 1st of June. Which means that our brand new Sudoku competition is launching over on Patreon. This month we've themed it on the fact that in the US lots of files about alien discoveries have just been declassified, and we've found some interesting things in those files to do with puzzles. And so anyway, that's going live 4 p.m. tomorrow over on Patreon. I'll try and remember to put a link to that on the screen, and all that is left to do is birthdays, and there are a lot of Sudoku enthusiasts who have birthdays today. So let me go through this list quickly. Leah, your partner Ben wanted to wish you a happy birthday, and maybe it was your birthday this weekend. I'm not sure if it's actually today, but the two of you watch apparently in order to go to sleep. It's never something when we started the channel. Oh dear, the world's most boring man can send people to sleep. I mean, literally, we shouldn't have called it Cracking the Cryptic, should we? We should have called it something like Excellent Sleep Available. Anyway, Leah, many happy returns. Next, Charlie. Charlie, you're turning 23 today, and I know this because your friend Willow wrote to me and told me that the two of you watch Cracking the Cryptic during sleepovers, which happen often, apparently. Also, mysteriously, Willow was keen for me to tell you that next year, Willow will be finally older than you, Charlie. I do not know how that works at all. It sounds most mysterious, almost like something Marty Sears-esque might be involved in that. But Charlie, many happy returns today. I hope you find some heavily iced chocolate cake. Next, Shane, over there in Buffalo, New York. You're turning 32 today. I know this because your girlfriend Brooke wrote to me, amusingly noting that Brooke normally doesn't like anything to do with numbers or Sudoku, but she's become slightly obsessed as a result of Shane getting her into the channel. So Shane, thank you for spreading the word. Much appreciated, and I hope you have a great birthday with excellent cake today. Next, Glenn. Glenn, it's your birthday today, and I know this because your wife, Crystal, wanted me to wish you a happy birthday. I think you're away at the moment, but she and the kids are looking forward to celebrating your birthday when you get back. So, Glenn, many happy returns. Jonathan, you're turning 18 today, and I know this because your dad, Andreas, wrote to me over there in Germany. It's your birthday tomorrow, but I think given you're an hour ahead, and by the time this video goes live, this was the appropriate video to wish you a happy birthday in. I think you're a gamer who enjoys chess puzzles, not so much Sudoku yet, but I think Andreas is hoping maybe one day. And he's planning a lemon cake, which is, I think, the cake you wanted, gluten-free lemon cake. And I am assured the icing will be exceptionally luscious, which is fantastic. As it seems the appropriate adjective, lemon luscious cake. That's something we have here in the UK. Next, Kyle, you're turning a secret age today. I wonder what that could be. You found us during the Miracle Sudoku, and you still rewatch the Miracle Sudoku video occasionally. That's amazing. Kyle, many happy returns. And then last but not least, over there in Norway, I'm going to get the pronunciation of this wrong, but I will go for Preben. Is that how to pronounce your name? Preben, you're turning 35. I know this because your wife Julie wrote to me, and your son Bjorn Julian as well. And I think Bjorn Julian has been listening since his birth 6 months ago. That's great. And I know, Preben, that Julie is planning on making you chocolate cake using her mother's recipe today, which I'm assured is an excellent one. So that is good news. Preben, many happy returns. That's all the news. Let's have a go, shall we, at doing some solving. Let's have a look at the rules for Mind the Gap by Michael Lefkowitz. What do we have to do today? We have got normal Sudoku rules apply. So we've got to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every 3 by 3 box. Safety strips. Digits separated by a yellow safety strip are in a 2-to-1 ratio, i.e. one is double the other. So, if that was a 2, this could either be 4, because 4 is double 2, or 1, because 2 is double 1. That is how safety strips work. Now, gap loop. Extend the gap, i.e. the grey lines, along cell edges so that it forms a single loop which cannot touch itself. Even and odd digits may not touch except across the gap. So I think what we're being told here is that this sort of dark grey boundary, it's all got to join together and make a loop. And then, say this was an even digit, that would be an odd digit, is I think what we're being told. Which is a very unusual rule, but quite exciting. And next, Pathfinder. Draw a path from cell center to cell center from the blue dot to the red pin, which may move orthogonally or diagonally. So let's just make sure we understand what that means. An orthogonal movement is going to be a movement like that in a north, east, south, or westerly direction. And a diagonal movement is what it sounds like, a diagonal movement like that. So we've got to draw a path from here to here by moving along cell centers. So we could just do that, presumably. There'll be a reason we can't do that, but in Marty Sears style, it would be quite funny if that was the path that we have to take. Right, so we have to do that. Okay, the path we take cannot cross or touch... Oh, it can't cross or touch the gap. except at yellow safety strips. Adjacent digits on the path differ by at least 3. So that's some sort of weird hybrid of German and Dutch whispers. I don't think that's going to be... So if we had a path that was that way, and this was, say, a 2, then this would be 5 or more. So let's say it was 5, then this would be 8, 9, 1 or 2 again. I mean, that's a weird rule. That is a weird rule. But I think that is that's the end of the scrolling. They are all the rules. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now I get to play. Let's get cracking. I mean, in a sense, at least we know where to start this puzzle, don't we? Because the path is impossible. We can't do anything with this difference of 3 rule. No, that's not where you start. The safety strips aren't where you start, because just knowing some cells effectively are separated by a black Kropke dot is not... No, I was about to contradict myself, but I think it's true. I mean, you could think about 5, 7 and 9 in column 6, but just because they can never go on... they could never go on safety strips, because no digit is double or half 5, 7 or 9, or no Sudoku number is anyway. So 5, 7 and 9 in this column are going to go in those cells, which is nearly interesting. But I don't think that can be where we start. Gap loop. This is going to be the paragraph of rules we need to focus on. So we're going to have to draw a loop by connecting all of these strands together. And even and odd digits may not touch except across the gap. I mean, that is a truly peculiar rule. Because so if this was an odd digit, I'm just trying to... let me just mull this over for a moment. If that's an odd digit, it's not possible for all of those to be even, is it? Because then... Or hang on, is that wrong? Is that the wrong way round? Even and odd digits may not touch except across... No, that wouldn't work. That wouldn't work. If that's odd, and then these are all even... then the gap would be that, and that would be a single loop around that digit, and we know that's not the case. So you can't... So if you have an odd digit in the middle of a 3x3 box, you can't surround it entirely with even digits, because you create a mini loop. But so hang on, if you had a loop, I mean, I know that's not the loop. That is very clearly not the loop we're looking for, but imagine it was. Yeah, okay, right, here is what we're supposed to understand, I think. That is weird. That is a weird thought. I mean, it could have just said this, I think, but it didn't. And maybe I should have just understood it, but I didn't. Right. Somewhere in this grid is a loop. Now, that loop obviously will enclose an area of cells. Now, that internal area of cells that is enclosed by the loop, imagine it was this, those all have the same parity, is what I'm claiming. I don't know whether it's odd or even, but they all have the same parity, because if they didn't, then the loop should separate them, and it doesn't. Because if this was a 2 and this was a 3, say, well, then it says that that's impossible unless the loop did that. And the loop doesn't do that because arbitrarily in this instance, I'm simply saying that somewhere in this grid there is a loop. I mean, let's try and draw one. I'm just trying to draw and connect all of these pieces together. There you go. That's a loop. So if that turned out to be the correct loop, let's look at it. I've drawn a sort of camel. I've drawn a camel. And within the camel, so all of this internal area, it is clearly the case there cannot be a domino anywhere within that has an odd and an even digit in it. Because then the loop would not, then this could not be the loop. Yeah, so so there is a single orthogonally connected internal loop area that is either entirely even or entirely odd. And it is, okay, so hang on. So in Sudoku, what have we got? We've got 81 cells, but we've got 4 even digits in every row because 2, 4, 6, and 8 appear in every row, and there are 9 rows. So there are 36 evens, which means there are 45 odds, 5 times 9. Yeah, so either the loop will either contain 45 cells if it's enclosing odd digits, or 36 cells if it's enclosing even digits. And then on the outside of the loop, you're going to have strands that are going to operate a bit like the logic problem cave, aren't they? That they're going to have to get to the edge. Now, why do I say that? If they didn't get to the edge, there would be second loops. This is hard to explain. How could I draw this in? Yeah, I mean, imagine there wasn't you could still say that this now in my camel, you could say this is a loop. It is a loop. It's true. So you could say that's a loop, but you can see this is a second loop. So yes, it forms a single loop. Now we haven't formed a single loop here. We've got a second loop. So what's going to happen? What's going to have to happen is that anything, let's say the internal loop, the inner loop is all even digits, and let's say we knew this was an odd digit, that will have to get to the edge of the grid. So it might have to go like that, and then this would, so our loop would have to change shape slightly. It would have to be, it's hard to draw it, but something more like that would be our loop now. So now it looks a bit less like a camel. Okay. So let's now try and, and now I have to delete all of this nonsense that I've drawn in. But I will be quite pleased if it turns out to look like a camel, but I doubt it will. Right, so let's just think this through. So now what we're going to have to do is somehow work out, I think the key bit's going to be the internal bit of the loop. Right, okay. Let's start there. These two cells are outside the loop. Because if they were inside the loop, then the loop would be tiny. It would just be those cells, wouldn't it? So these two are outside the loop. Let's give them a colour. Let's make them green. And these are inside the loop, therefore. So we'll make those purple. So if purple was... Oh, well, I know then. I've done it already. So now I know that the... let me just double check I'm not making a mistake here. Yeah, purple is odd, I'm going to say. And let me explain that. I know that all these cells are inside the loop. They are on the internal bit of the loop, because those clearly are on the outside of the loop, and the line divides them. We're told the loop never touches itself, so it's not possible it branches, so it can't, it can't do this sort of thing. That's just nonsense. Maverick's just about to fly over. So these all have the same parity. Now imagine they're all even. Look at column 2 now. All the evens have gone, which means these two digits across this, whatever it's called, the safety strip, are supposed to both be odd, and yet one is double the other. Well, if one is double the other, it's even. The one that's double is definitely an even number. And it couldn't be even, because all the evens would be used up in the purple. So the only way this works now is if the purple is odd, the green is even, and the odd is internal to the loop. So we can start to draw the loop. Or at least extend the loop. Now, yeah, this is lovely. This is lovely. Right. Now let's look at this little collection here. Again, this loop segment that we've got drawn in already for us tells us those three are the same. They're either all internal to the loop or they're all external to the loop. Now, if they were all odd, if these were odd, we'd have 6 odds in column 2. Well, there are only 5 odds in column 2, 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9. So those have to be even. That has to be odd. Now that's interesting, because this one, all the odds are like this package in the middle of the grid. Not in the middle of the grid, but in the middle of the loop. So they all have to connect together. So that's got to get out now. And it sounds like there's a very strange war going on outside today. It's not a trampoline war in the normal sense. It sounds like some sort of jungle war. Oh, well, okay. So now I've got 5 odds in column 2. So those have got to be even, just to balance the books there. So we can draw another bit of loop in. That's got to be a loop. We did loops yesterday, actually, with Lupin's loop, didn't we? By Rabaron. So doing another loop puzzle today. Yeah, this is good. Right, now look at this loop segment here. This one. Again, with we don't know how this works yet, but we can see that all of those cells have the same polarity. They're either all internal to the loop or all external to the loop. If they were all... So these can't all be even. We'd have too many evens in row 3. So those have to be odd, which means these two are even. Now, what does that mean? That's a question, isn't it? So, Okay, we've got to be a bit careful here, but I think we can use cave logic in this puzzle. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is I don't think in this puzzle, it's possible anywhere to have that pattern. A checkerboard in a 2x2. Now let me try and explain why. If this pattern existed, then the loop would touch itself. which we're told it's not allowed to do. Or to put it another way, you'd get a second loop, because we're told these have to connect together because they're part of the same internal piece of the loop, and that will create an internal loop that's this blue thing. It just doesn't work. Now, why do I care about that? I was looking at this cell. I was trying to think about what that cell's color was. Now, I could see if that was orange, I'd have to avoid a checkerboard, so this would be orange, and I'd have 6 oranges in box 2, so I think that's blue. All right, no, okay, I've overcomplicated the world here. There's something much simpler. Look at column 4. Okay, those 3 all clearly have the same parity. Now, what would happen if these were orange? The reason this fails is this junction here. I don't know which way up these go, but clearly one is even, one is odd, because the gap thing is separating those two cells. So again, there would now be too many odds in column 4. There would be 6. So those have to be even. And, okay, so let's reverse that logic now. Across this boundary, there's definitely one even. So the rest of the column is odd. And okay, and that's given me all of the odds in box 2, look. And we can draw a boundary in there. We can draw a boundary in there. Oh, yes. Okay, so all of those. Oh, this is good. All of those have to be odd and don't make a checkerboard. So that's got to be odd. And that's all the odds in column 5. So these are even. And that's given us the polarity around this segment. This has been set so brilliantly, hasn't it? It's a bit like yesterday. It's just beautiful. It's so lovely to solve a puzzle like this. Now, okay, right, this boundary has to have at least one even digit on it because it's one of these safety strips. And because we know one digit is double the other across a safety strip, at least one of those is blue, and only one of them can be blue because we can only have 4 blues in any box, 2, 4, 6, and 8. So this is certainly odd. I want to sort of say, oh, we can't have a 2 by 2, so but that's not a rule in this puzzle. If those were odd, that would be all the odds in row 7. If those, you can see there's sort of a pattern there, isn't there? Where these have the same parity and these have the same parity. I don't know. Okay, I'm not going to do that. I've seen something easier. This cell can't be even. Because again, if this is even, because we can't have checkerboards, this would be even. I'd have 5 evens in box 5. Again, impossible. So that's definitely odd. Now that is on a safety strip. So because one digit is double the other, at least one digit on a safety strip has to be even. So it must be this one now, and that's touching this boundary. So those two are both even. These 3 are all odd, and now we've got all our odds in row 6, so that's got to be even. We've got all our odds in row 7, so that's got to be even, which we could have done by checkerboard, actually. Okay, I don't know what this means, but I'm going to start drawing in boundaries because I enjoy doing it. So those. This has to have the loop. The loop, we know odds are on the inside of the loop, so there must be sort of some internal bit of the loop on the outside of anything orange. Now, what do we think this means then? Okay, let's use this cell. If that cell was even, then we'd have to avoid a checkerboard, so this would be even, and I'd have 5 evens in box 7, so that's definitely odd. Same thing here, isn't it? If that was even, then to avoid a checkerboard here, this would be even, and I'd have 5 evens in box 4, so that's got to be odd. Now I've got 4 odds in row 5. I've got this little loop segment here, which I don't think we know much about. If this was odd, that would have to be odd to avoid a checkerboard, and we'd have 6 odds in the row, so that's even. I've managed to get 3 evens now in column 7. Same thing here. If that's good, that's huge actually. That is huge. If this cell is odd, to avoid a checkerboard, this is odd, and look at row 5. Too many odds, which means this is even, but that's all my evens for box 6, so all of those are odd. That must do, yes, that does do something. Now look at column 9. I've got 4 odds. There must be an odd across this boundary, so that's all 5 odds, so the rest of the column is even. That's a shame. We don't know what colour this is, because you could have a black dot. You could have like a 4-8 where both are even. That's absolutely fine. We can't assume this is odd. Okay, so, well, what we can do is look at this cell. If that was even, this would be even to avoid a checkerboard. We'd have 5 evens, so that's definitely odd. Now I've got all my odds in row 8, so those are both even. I've got now all my evens in box 8, so that's definitely odd. Now, if this was odd to avoid a checkerboard, that would also be odd, and that would put 6 odds in that box, so that is even. That's all the evens in box 5, so that is odd. Now, what do you think we do next? I've got, oh look, box 9's got all its evens, so those have got to be odd. So look, we can draw even more of this loop in now. Loads of it. Absolutely loads of it. Do those, do those. Actually, it's not the red colour. Maybe I should have tried a different colour, because it is slightly difficult to see, isn't it? At least for me. Okay, it's probably... Oh, look at column 7. I've got all 4 evens, so that's odd. I've now got all my odds in row 1, so that's even. Probably something you can do in box 3, isn't there, with this boundary thing? If... Yeah, okay. If this was odd, it would all go wrong. Because, yeah, let me just show you that. If this is odd, we've got all our odds now in row 3, so this is even. But remember, this is even across the boundary thing, and this, we can't have a checkerboard, so that would be even as well. So we'd just have an absolute flurry, a plethora of evens in that box. So that's got to be even, which means this is odd. That's got to connect to its friends, so this is odd. That's all 5 odds, so this is even. And we haven't got enough odds in row 3, so that's odd. Now we've got all our odds in box 1, so that's even. Nori nori. Oh yeah. Look at this. If this was odd, I'd have a pool of evens in the middle of the grid, which means I'd have 2 loops, and I can't have 2 loops, so that's definitely even. That's all my evens in that row, so that blue thing is odd. I've got all my odds in the first column, so that's even. I've now got all my evens in box 7, so that's odd. And now I've shaded. So we can draw in the entirety of our lovely loop, and we will do that. And then we will read the rules again because I can't remember what we have to do next. Okay, I think it's something like that. Right, so what do? Once we've got this, we've built a whole area in the grid of odd digits and lots of different areas of even digits. And we have to draw the path, don't we, from there to there. Moving orthogonally or diagonally, it can't cross or touch the gap except at the safety strips. And adjacent digits on the path differ by at least 3. Okay, so we this is why we can't just do that, because I'm not allowed to cross the red line except where there's a yellow safety strip. So in fact, okay, so how are we going to get to this? I've got to stay in my colour. I can't go down here. That's just a cul-de-sac. It can't. It's interesting. It doesn't say that the path can't hit itself, but I mean, it's silly for it to go down there because then it would just have to turn round and come back the other way. So it's going to have to go to here. The thing is, it could go diagonally now, but it could go there or there. It's got to get into the blue. Yeah, it's not going to cross that one because then it couldn't get out. It's not going to cross that one because then it couldn't get out. Yeah, so it's either crossing one or more of that one, or that one, I think. And these are all odd digits that have to differ in value by 3. So how does that mean? 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So a 1 could go next to 5, 7, or 9. A 3 could only go next to 7 or 9. A 5 could only go next to 1 or 9. And then that must sort of, by symmetry, so a 7 can go next to 1 or 3, and a 9 can go next to 1, 3, or 5. Ooh, that doesn't seem actually that easy to understand, does it? Okay, and how does it work if you go along a blue section? A blue section differing by at least 3. So 2 can go next to 6 or 8. 4 is monogamous. 4 can only go next to 8 because 2 and 6 would be too close to it. The same is true of 6. 6 couldn't go next to 4, it couldn't go next to 8. So 6 only goes next to 2 if you're in a stretch of blue, and 8 can go next to 2 or 4. So it's not very easy to know what to do, is it? Okay, we can pencil mark some of these gateways here because some of the whatever they're called, safety strips, have odd digits and even digits on them. So the odd digits that are going to double, because you can't half an odd digit and get a Sudoku number, then you're not going to get an integer. So the odd digits that can double to give Sudoku numbers are 1 and 3. So anything that has 2 colours on it, any safety strip that has 2 colours on it, they all have to be 1s and 3s, and they're going to give rise to 2s and 6s on the other side. Okay. So some safety strips, any safety strip that has a 1, 2 on it, you couldn't cross because they wouldn't be 3 apart. So, well, one of those is going to be impossible because one of those is a 1. So imagine it was this one. That would be a 1, 2 pair, which would mean we could cross this one and then go up that way. But we couldn't. Yeah, you definitely can't cross both of these. That one, that's 2 even digits. So that's that one's from 2, 4, 8. It's either a 2, 4 pair or a 4, 8 pair. I'm not sure how to do this. I suspect we might have to colour our... I mean, those are 5, 7, 9. Is it really that? Let me just see if we can do anything with colouring. Those two are the same. Actually, it's better not to do the 1s and 3s. I'm going to do... Yeah, okay. Let's try and do it with 2s and 6s because I can see something I can do with that. And what I'm going to say is, because these are different, because one of these is 1 and one of these is 3, these are different. So let's make that purple and that green. Now, again, because we know that this is purple 2 or 6, and that goes with this 1 or 3, this is a different 1 or 3, so that must be a green one of these. Now that digit now sees... Oh, and so does that one. Hang on. Oh, no. Well, we can just do Sudoku. Where's the purple 2, 6 in there? It's there. So these are a 4, 8 pair, and that is a green 2, 6 by Sudoku as well. That's quite lovely, really. So these are a 4, 8 pair in box 8, and that means that the red thing that we're heading towards is a purple 2, 6. And that one, do we know what these are? I don't think I do. We might be able to work it out, though. This one is a 4 or an 8. Okay, I'm gonna go ham. I'm gonna do more colouring. So these 4 8s are different. So that 4 8 is yellow. So that digit is yellow, 4 8, isn't it? Just by Sudoku on the even digits. So these two digits are green 2 6 and indigo 4 8, which means this is indigo 4 8 by Sudoku, and that is purple 2 6 by Sudoku. So that's okay. So this is purple and yellow. And this is green and indigo by Sudoku. And those are green and indigo. That one. This one is not a 4 because of that safety strip at the top. Which would be great if I knew this was indigo, because then it would have to be 8. If that was indigo, this is so confusing. No, I can't do that. I thought I was going to be able to colour these ones, but I don't think I can. One of those is purple. One of those is green. Those are purple indigo. These are yellow green. What's this one? If that was green, that would be green. This would be indigo. That would be purple. That's probably what is happening. It doesn't feel very easy for me to propagate this. Is it this path thing then? But I don't know which of these we can cross. I know one of them we can't cross. So I'm sorry, this is very confusing. How do we think this? How do I think about this so that I can actually do it? Differences of 3 are allowed, so I could, for example, go between those two cells. They are 4 apart. Otherwise, I could have avoided going through that one. And if you go through that one, how does it work then? So if you've got within the evens, 4 and 6 were the difficult digits, weren't they? 4 and 6 only had one partner. So if you do go through, yeah, oh, that's lovely. Right, I've got something here. I can tell you, yeah, this is good. This is very good. Right, what we need to think, we need to go back. We need to think again about even digits and how we could construct a path out of the 4 even digits. Because what I'm looking at is, well, specifically it's this. I'm wondering whether we could reach the red thing from the east, from the east side of the red thing. So could we, to reach the red thing, come along that passageway? And I don't think you can, for this reason. Those cells are obviously all 4 even digits. Now, when we were thinking about how even digits worked, we worked out that 4 and 6 were quite awkward because they could only partner up with the digit that's sort of furthest away from them. So 4 could only match up with 8. It's the only even digit that's sufficiently different from it. So one way of thinking about this sort of passageway is you're going to have to put those difficult to place digits at the end of the string. And the nice easy digits, which are the 8 and the 2, because they have 2 possible neighbours, they're going to have to go in the middle of the string. So if this was 8, for example, you could put 2 on one side of it and 4 on the other. That's, well, yeah, that's, in fact, hang on, this just doesn't work at all, does it? In fact, with these options, it just doesn't work at all. Because what is this? That's going to have to be a naughty digit. That's going to have to be 6. In fact, this has got no possible fill. Okay, so I've overcomplicated the rationale here. Well, no, we still have to go through it. But it's utterly, utterly impossible. Let's think about how we could construct this sequence. If this is 2, then this can't be 4 and is going to have to be 8, which means this digit is going to have to be 4, and now that digit's going to have to be 6, which hang on. Well, that doesn't work. It's the short answer. Because 2, 8, 4, 6, these are not sufficiently different. Yeah, I'm going to go back to my other way of thinking about it. You are going to have to put the 8 and the 2 in the middle of the sequence, with the 4 and the 6 on the edges of the sequence. So you have 4 and 6 on one side, 8, 2 in the middle, and 4 and 6 on the other side. That's what you'd have to do to make it work. But this digit can't be 4. So that's going to have to be the 6, which means this is a 2, and that's not going to work because I need to put the 2 in the middle of the sequence. I mean, this is the most dreadful explanation, but it is true. So if you want to, I'm going to now state the position. If you want to make a path through even digits that are different in this puzzle, and there are 4 even digits in a row, you have to put 2 and 8 in the middle of the sequence and 4 and 6 on the edge of the sequence. That is the only way to do it. And because this would therefore have to be 6, because it can't be 4, this would be a 2 on the edge of the sequence. And then you've got 4 and 8 here, and that will not work. Because 4 only has one possible neighbour, and that is the digit 8. The other side of the 4 will break the sequence. Now, why does this matter? Why does that long-winded explanation matter? Well, it matters because that actually means, actually, I've got to be careful here. No, it is true. It is true. It's okay. It means that the way we get to the red thing is not from the east. It's going to be from this direction. So that means we must cross that little boundary thing. And we can't go diagonally there. So that's how we're doing that. But also, the reason I just paused for thought is I wondered whether we could nip in and out of the even region without doing this stretch. But we can't, because we know one of these is a 1-2 pair, which we're not allowed to cross. So in fact, the only time we go into the even to collect the red and reach the destination is through there, which means that the passage through the odds is going to have to, well, we could go diagonally there. But then we're going to have to go there. So rinky-dinkage might be possible there. But that is basically, we've drawn all the path now, and I'm going to get my first digit because this digit that crossing can't be a 1-2 pair. So that's got to be a 3-6 pair, which makes that digit a 2 by Sudoku, which means this is a 4-8 pair, and this is a 6. Now, okay, so now that we have actually got a 4-8 pair in the middle, and this is 2 or 6. Now, hopefully, so 2 or 6, we know that's the green digit, don't we? So this is the indigo digit. And hopefully that's now a 4 or an 8. Hopefully we can now do some propagation of colouring. Yeah, what we can do is remember that 6 is going to be monogamous across even digits. So this digit can't be 4 or 8. It wouldn't be 3 different. This is beautiful. That's got to be 2. Now that can't be 6, so that's going to have to be 8. It can't be 4, because 2 and 4 are not 3 different. And now I've got a yellow that's a 4. So wherever we get yellows, we can put 4 in. We now know indigos are always 8. We know that is an indigo. Therefore, this is a 2 or a 6. Well, it's a 2 then. So green is 2, and all the colouring that we did earlier is now unwinding. Boom, 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 boom. That's 4 or 8. Oh, yeah, that's a 1 then across the gate thing. So that's a 3 across the gate. That's a 1 across the gate. We've nearly done all the even digits. I think we ought to be able to do them all. Unless Ah, no, okay, there's another 1 there. So I'm not sure how else they could be resolved. That's probably a naive thing to say, but yeah, where's 2 in box 7? It's got to be there. This is a 4 by there you go. 4, 8. So this is a 6. Therefore, that's an 8. That's an 8. That's a 4. That's a 4. That's an 8. Yeah. This is all going to be resolved. This is 2. This is 4. This is 6. This is 8. And it is all resolved. And now I think we can lose the added colours that we had, because they aren't helping us anymore. Oh, hang on. Wait a sec. That's 6 and that's 4. Now let's tidy up our colouring. And okay, so we can double green, double yellow, double purple, double indigo. There we are. We've done the even digits. Now we've just got to do this same exercise for the odd digits. How long have I haven't even been going an hour yet. This is absolutely wonderful. Now, okay, so let's go back to thinking about three going to an odd digit. So that's got to be a 7 or a 9. That is underwhelming, isn't it? That is not probably. Oh, 3 goes to 7 or 9, we just said. So there's a 7-9 pair on either side of this 3, which places 5 in row 9 of the grid. Is there really enough information to settle all these odd digits? That's quite surprising, actually. 3 can't go next to 1 on the path here, so 3 is going to be in one of those two. Oh, 3 is placed, actually. Okay, we know 3 goes opposite 7s and 9s, so that places 5. Maybe it's going to work, actually. It's quite wonderful, isn't it? This is from 3, 7, 9. 1 is in one of 2 places in box 3. That's just Sudoku. So 1 is in one of 2 places in box 6. 5. Oh, nearly. It's nearly difficult to place 5 in row 8. What about 3 then? 3's got to be in one of 2 places in box 7, which means 3 is in one of 2 places. So they are from 3, 7, 9, because we know 3 only goes next to 7 or 9. Oh, well, that's good. So where's 5 in this box? It's got to be here. And then 5 can't go next to 7 or 3, so 5 must go next to 9, and therefore this is 3, and this is 7 or 9. And one of these 2 digits is 3, which must go next to, you've guessed it, 7 or 9. The 3 is in one of those 2 cells by Sudoku in box 4, which means this is not 3. But didn't I work out? Yeah, I worked out one of those was 3. It's now that one, which means this is 7 or 9. So this is 5 in box 5. So there's a 5. Oh, that's okay, just. Where's 5 in box 6? By Sudoku, it's got to go here. And therefore this is 1, and that's 9, because 7 and 5 would be too close together. So this is a 3-7 pair. It's weird. I probably am going to regret saying this, but once you get going, this is not that difficult to do. Look, it's sort of just filling itself in. That's a 3 by Sudoku. That's a 7 by Sudoku. Okay, the 3 can't go to the 5 now, because 3 and 5 are too close together. It could go to the 9. Where's 5 in row 3? It's there. So all of those just get filled in. This digit's now a 9. We need a 5 in this row. Let's fill that in. We need a 5 in column 2. Let's fill that in. So this digit is 7 or 9 by hook or by crook. This is a 5-1 pair, which we can do. They work across the along the line, so that's fine. This digit's a 7. So the 7, oh dear. No, it's okay. Oh, that was horrible. Right, we're in the 5 position. Now we need a digit that's at least 3 different. So we can't go to that 7 or that 7, but thankfully we can go that way and then that way. Now, in this row, what do we need? 1, 3, 7, and that can't be 7 or 1 by Sudoku. So that's 3. Therefore, this is 7. This is 1. That's 9. That's perfect. That works perfectly well. 9 and 7, they work perfectly well. That's a 3 by Sudoku. That's a 7 by Sudoku. And it's just filled in. It's just filled in. And that 3 can't go to 5, so it does go directly to the 9. So let's just check. Have we drawn a path that seems complete? I'm going to argue that we have. That's a phenomenal puzzle, Michael. That is a phenomenal puzzle. My favourite bit was realising that you had to isolate one parity inside the loop. And then it became like a cave puzzle, which I love. I fully endorse that. It's just magnificent. It's a let's see if it's right, actually. Yes, it is right, and that is super. We did mind the gap, and we had a most amazing time doing it. Let me know in the comments how you got on with the puzzle. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind, and hopefully we'll see you for some blueprints in about 20 minutes. See you then. Bye now.